So their system has literally fallen apart. The old globalist order is over. Carney, that is a top globalist, Schwab level, the former head of the Bank of England, not even Canadian, he now runs Canada. And he said last week in China, the New World Order is China, the EU, and Canada against America. And we have those clips. I played a few of them on Friday, but I didn't get to it last night. I was so busy. The new ones over the weekend, where reporters go, "What do you mean, Prime Minister?" And he goes, "Well, it's our alliance with the EU and China against America. And all the totalitarianism that comes with it." I mean, it's just simply incredible to have this so out in the open now. And, of course, they're confiscating the last guns now and passing laws to put you in jail for 5 years for criticizing the government, just like they're doing in Australia, just like they're doing in the UK. It's the same system, just like they're doing in Germany. So that's super hardcore. I've got a lot of other news as well I'm going to get to. I also want to open the phones up throughout the broadcast right through 3 o'clock Central today. So the next 3 hours and 50 minutes of actual airtime. But we'll be getting to your calls. Coming up towards the end of this hour, and then right into the next hour, interspersed with news and analysis. I don't want to take a lot of your phone calls on any of these interesting subjects, here today. You notice I had laryngitis for about a week. I know it's been very annoying to listen to. It's been very annoying for me. I feel like what it must feel like to be Kennedy, where you got to focus and really push and be able to talk. But it's about 50% better. I know if I'd arrested it would have been better days ago. But in the next few days, say your prayers, cross your fingers. It should be back to the good old normal voice, but it certainly feels good now. So thank you for your support and prayers out there. People have been doing that, and I appreciate it. Unsolicited, I saw in the emails, and I saw in comments on InfoWars and on X and Rumble, "Alex, take it easy. We're praying for you. You gotta believe me. I need the prayer, not just for my larynx, but just for everything in general going on. I don't make a big deal about being the position I'm in, the level of attacks I'm under from all different sectors and angles, and also spiritual attack. But it is only through Christ Jesus and the Holy Spirit that the Father sends, and of course you as intercessors praying for me and the operation and the crew and my family, that we have been able to withstand this, because I've withstood nothing and it's all been God. But when you reach out and ask God for providence and for leading, guiding, and direct us, it happens. So I really do need your prayers, because as you can see, not just with InfoWars, but in your own life and everywhere, the quickening's here, and evil is intensifying, good is intensifying. It's really an amazing time to be alive. But like I said, I'm getting to the big news on Trump's statement that they're saying is so insane, so crazy, coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Also, prominent Catholic clerics denounce U.S. foreign policy and say we must prepare to have new martyrs. I guess they'll be the patron saints of nuclear war with Russia. Bishop warns clergy, prepare for new era of martyrdom. Top cardinals. Okay. We got to take in all the illegal aliens too, but the Vatican doesn't take in one. It's the hypocrisy of the Vatican leadership. I mean, 80% of them are leftists. There's some great cardinals and bishops, people that really say true things and really inform, but that's not who runs it. Really feel sorry for Catholics, but hey, I'm not shaking a stick at you. Look at all the other big denominations. It just goes from bad to worse because evil has penetrated into every major institution. Yeah, go back to that headline on Drudge. Is the U.S. still a force for good? USA no longer a force for good. What did the different NATO heads say the last month repeatedly and leaders in Europe? America is our enemy now. America is now bad. We may have to go to war with America. And again, who does the installed Prime Minister of Canada? Trudeau had a 50% approval rating. He's removed. You have over 10 parties, so they do a manipulation with the parties to team up and then put Carney in. It's not, again, a two-party system, not a straight-up 50+% of the vote and you win, or majority of the vote you win. And it's just like Starmer has a 15% approval rating. But they rewrote the rules in Parliament where in the last election, a vote for Labor was almost counted. It was almost 3 times. Where the formula was like it was like 2.5 votes. So each vote for a Labor candidate in the parliamentary setup, they would then get that many more votes to in the vote in Parliament from the members of Parliament on who would be the Prime Minister. If you caught that, it's meant to give you a headache. So they just changed the rules and said, well, we're a very unpopular party. We've only got less than 20% support, but we are already in power, so we'll just change the rules that every vote in Parliament by a member of our party for Prime Minister is counted 2.5 times. There's a bunch of other weird stuff they did. I mean, it's just like trying to keep track of it. Same crap went on up in Canada. And then we have these installed individuals. And again, a lot of Americans will say, well, why do I care about what goes on in Canada? Well, you better care. Because China is literally taking it over right now. They admittedly had 50,000 troops training up there. They have their own police departments and own police cars. Now the leader, Carney, who we knew was going to end up openly announcing his allegiance to Communist China, has now done it. And remember what Justin Trudeau said when he first got in power, what was it, almost a decade ago, remember? They said, what type of government is your favorite? What do you admire the most? What do you model yourself after? And he said, Xi Jinping's basic Chinese communist dictatorship. He said dictatorship. I played the clip 500 times. You want to see it again? I mean, look, if you don't believe me, just type in Justin Trudeau dictatorship quote. And the women in the room love it. It's like, oh, yes, dictatorship, because we're the dictators now. We the bosses. We the bosses. So I'm going to get to those clips. It's just mind-blowing, and it ties into Klaus Schwab and all the rest of it. But the good news is not one, but 2 provinces not one, the numbers are there, have the votes to leave. Now, you got the Governor General, and the British Empire never really left, so it's behind the scenes and could try to invoke powers to override that, kind of like Denmark said in the 50s. Greenland can leave anytime you want, you're independent, but now the fine print is, oh, sorry, you can't. Yeah, here's the basic dictatorship quote. So it's really amazing this is going on. All right, now, let me give you kind of an overview on what's going on with the Insurrection Act and what's happening with the left. And then after we've covered the big geopolitical and actually played the clips, I'm going to take your phone calls. But the first thing that I really want to put front and center is this is the Podesta plan. This is the admitted plan. Trigger absolute societal breakdown. And you can see the job that's been done by the corporate media, by the educational system, by the colleges, with the leftists in this country who progressively get more and more violent. I mean, just a few years ago, it was mainly Antifa and some Black Lives Matter people and a few Muslims that would knock a family over the head or stab somebody because they were wearing an American flag shirt. Now, you go into Minneapolis, Minnesota, or other leftist cities, it is a large portion of the people, predominantly middle-aged and older whites with phalanxes of Muslims and Somalis in the case of Minnesota, and some Hispanics joining them. But they are anti-America. They are anti-white. They say that. They are communist. And they are vicious. Absolutely vicious. And we did a lot of coverage on that last night. People are just walking by a restaurant. There's a bunch of IT guys sitting around eating for lunch. They decide they're ICE. They go in and beat them up and attack them. And the police don't come and say that's okay. Fella's wearing an American flag sweatshirt. They beat him up, chase him down the road, make him take off the shirt, still keep attacking him. And there's hundreds of these videos. I know you've seen a lot of them. Nick Sordor just pulls up in a Somali area of Minnesota. Isn't there 5 minutes? And people run up around his car. Somalis do, recognize who he is, starts talking to him. They grab his camera, run away with it, try to run him over. His hand gets caught in the door, bleeding, slammed inside the door. They drag him down the road at about 40 miles an hour. You ask, how'd he run that fast? If you look, he's skiing at the end down the ice. He's leaning back on his feet, skiing, or he would have gotten run over. And he had just hosted his Sunday show a few hours before this happened here on InfoWars, 1 p.m. Central, right before we go live at 4 p.m. Central. So it just shows how dangerous this is. You saw what happened to Jake Lang, them trying to kill him. And then all these leftist Somalis and old white people run out and scream, get out of here, scum, get out of here, coward, get out of here, filth, you're not allowed to be here. And when he called the police department, they finally came, and it's on video, he released it last night, demonstration of illegal aliens and their supporters. And then they find the dead body of a MAGA supporter with his manifesto. And you've got 200 Somalis and old white people run out. How do I care about what goes on in Canada? Well, you better care. Because China is literally taking it over right now. They admittedly had 50,000 troops training up there. They have their own police departments and own police cars.
Skittish, what Brando knows. 7:38 a.m.
Now the leader, Carney, who we knew was going to end up
Brando, let's go.
Openly announcing his allegiance to communist China, has now done it. And remember what Justin Trudeau said when he first got in power, what was it, almost a decade ago, remember? They said, what type of government is your favorite? What do you admire the most? What do you model yourself after? And he said, Xi Jinping's basic Chinese communist dictatorship. He said dictatorship. I played the clip 500 times. You want to see it again? I mean, look, if you don't believe me, just type in Justin Trudeau dictatorship quote. And the women in the room love it. It's like, oh, yes, dictatorship, because we're the dictators now. We the bosses. We the bosses. So I'm going to get to those clips. It's just mind-blowing. And it ties into Klaus Schwab and all the rest of it. But the good news is not one, but two provinces not one, the numbers are there, have the votes to leave. Now, you got the governor general, and the British Empire never really left, so it's behind the scenes and could try to invoke powers to override that, kind of like Denmark said in the 50s. Greenland can leave anytime you want, you're independent, but now the fine print is, oh, sorry, you can't. Yeah, here's the basic dictatorship quote. So it's really amazing this is going on. All right, now, Let me give you kind of an overview on what's going on with the Insurrection Act and what's happening with the left. And then after we've covered the big geopolitical and actually played the clips, I'm going to take your phone calls. But the first thing that I really want to put front and center is this is the Podesta plan. This is the admitted plan. Trigger absolute societal breakdown. And you can see the job that's been done by the corporate media, by the educational system, by the colleges, with the leftists in this country who progressively get more and more violent. I mean, just a few years ago, it was mainly Antifa and some Black Lives Matter people, and a few Muslims that would knock a family over the head or stab somebody because they were wearing an American flag shirt. Now, you go into Minneapolis, Minnesota, or other leftist cities, it is a large portion of the people, predominantly middle-aged and older whites with phalanxes of Muslims and Somalis in the case of Minnesota, and some Hispanics joining them. But they are anti-America, they are anti-white, they say that, they are communist, and they are vicious. Absolutely vicious. And we did a lot of coverage on that last night. People are just walking by a restaurant. There's a bunch of IT guys sitting around eating for lunch. They decide they're ICE. They go in and beat them up and attack them. And the police don't come and say that's okay. Fella's wearing an American flag sweatshirt. They beat him up, chase him down the road, make him take off the shirt, still keep attacking him. And there's hundreds of these videos. I know you've seen a lot of them. Nick Sordor just pulls up in a Somali area of Minnesota. Isn't there 5 minutes? And people run up around his car. Somalis do, recognize who he is, starts talking to him. They grab his camera, run away with it, try to run him over. His hand gets caught in the door, bleeding, slammed inside the door. They drag him down the road at about 40 miles an hour. You ask, how'd he run that fast? If you look, he's skiing at the end down the ice. He's leaning back on his feet, skiing, or he would have gotten run over. And he had just hosted his Sunday show a few hours before this happened here on InfoWars, 1 p.m. Central, right before we go live at 4 p.m. Central. So it just shows how dangerous this is. You saw what happened to Jake Lang, them trying to kill him. And then all these leftist Somalis and old white people run out and scream, get out of here, scum, get out of here, coward, get out of here, filth, you're not allowed to be here. And when he called the police department, they finally came, and it's on video, he released it last night, and they said, Nick, it's your fault, you know you shouldn't be here. And so, no, we're not going to go. We don't care that you have the license plate of the car. We don't care they tried to kill you. The police say we're not going to help you. And that's how tyranny works. The communists always have their brown shirts. The Nazis had them too. They always have their paramilitary street thugs who go out and do the dirty work, and the government says, we don't know anything about that. And so that's what this is. And it really goes to the heart of who these individuals are. So I have a lot of clips, a lot of analysis, a lot of information on that front. But there is no doubt that this is only going to get worse into the summer, into the midterms, and that they are trying to go for full civil war. And I know I've harped on that till people were, numb, but you do notice I was right again. And you do notice that it's getting very intense. And Again, people are saying, well, nobody's buying it. The polls show Trump's actually gone up a few points over this, which is true. Most people aren't buying this. They're acting like fools. Yeah, but you see, they haven't done the final ingredient yet. Look what they've done with this one woman that was out there trolling and blocking and trying to run over the cop, the ICE officer, Ross, Miss Good, Mrs. Good. Imagine when somebody mows down a big demonstration of illegal aliens and their supporters, and then they find the dead body of a MAGA supporter with his manifesto. And you've got 200 people shot, 100 and something dead, little kids dead. Then the left's going to activate their real terror cells, the real criminal groups, the MS-13, the TDA, the Hezbollah, the Hamas, that they are allied with. And this country is going to explode. So this is all just the beta test. This is all just the warm-up. This is all just the preparatory phase right here. But if you look at the other uprisings they've done, Summer of Love, and then what they tried last year in the spring and summer, those were just warm-ups. You see, if they couldn't have stolen the election from Trump, Podesta said in the New York Times in their big war game, it was a report on their official big war game they had. They issued a report on the war game. You can read for yourself. We've shown many times. And they said, if he's able to win, this is what we're going to do, starting with demonstrations, starting with events, and then we believe that Trump will call out the military when we block the deportations and when our people get violent, and then we believe the military is going to mow down a bunch of people. And they put that in the movie, Civil War, and all the rest of it, a total wish list. It just makes no sense. Well, except they're going to false flag these big crowds. You can guarantee. And when they do that, that's when they're going to make their move and have like power outages and claim the Russians did it or terrorists did it or white supremacists did it. They've already pre-programmed that. So and then boom, Trump might get truck bombed or a missile shoots down Air Force One because there'll be a stand down. I mean, don't think when they make this move for Civil War that it's really even pointed at Trump. They need to get rid of him, and then the Civil War is really about locking down, getting control, persecuting MAGA, persecuting loyal Americans, persecuting what they see as the counter-revolution. That's what they call us, counter-revolutionaries. And I've studied the Weatherman's operations, and that's what's been picked up officially now by the CIA and the left in this country, and Saul Alinsky and the Cloward and Piven plans. So we know their plan, we know their tactics, we know their modern actual execution plan, not just their theoretical doctrine. And so I have their battle plans, their different scenarios, their overall philosophies. I mean, it doesn't mean I know more about the globalists and their mindset and the communists and their different systems of control than most of their top people. Because most of them are just compartmentalized, do their job, follow orders, and are very decadent and really don't work that hard. The proto-globalists were more professional and very much smarter. The current ones have gotten pretty sloppy. And when I say communist, that's the operating system for the grassroots. It's not a communist system. It's a totalitarian corporate technocracy, mad scientists, control grid, in their own words. And it's a mark of the beast, digital social credit score, panopticonic control system. And so, really thinking about this, I think it hinges on a lot of things, but they're just beta testing and probing right now that if they can get a revolution even in winter, they'll do it. But statistically, during the summer, riots are infinitely easier to start. Almost all revolutions start in July or August in history. And that's around the world. I mean, it happens in the summer. And so, let's just say big uprisings do. And so, I really think they need to kill Trump first. If they'd have killed Trump in Butler, when that happened over a year ago, they were going to blow up some black churches and colleges, shoot up some illegal alien facilities, blame it on angry Trump supporters, knock out some power grids, saying white supremacists did it, to try to tie Trump to white supremacy. It's like when they killed Kirk, they immediately said, oh, there's death threats at the black colleges. Just completely made up. Turned out that was fake. So you can see it all, folks. And remember, long before they ever said anything about black colleges, I said they're going to start telling you that, the Trump supporters are going to attack black colleges because they just need some place where it's basically just black people so they can go kill a bunch of them. And they get everybody all pissed off. That's why I've been psychologically inoculating everybody every day saying, hey, to black folks, hey, when they blow up your college, like, it ain't Trump, it ain't me, okay? I mean, come on, you're smart. You can see what's going on here. But it doesn't matter if the black people don't go crazy, the whites are going to do it in their name, like we're seeing in Minnesota. And that is the big problem. We'll be right back. I reckon a lot of you know I've been on the air for a long time, and we've done quite a few things here. And I've had a lot of different ways that I tried to continue on our mission. So I want to tell you about a begging right here. This is a limited edition knife. We just came out with it a couple days ago. And, well, some people call it a sling blade. I call it a Kaiser blade. But you need something to take care of yourself and your family and protect you. I think this will do it. It's an important remake, updated World War II trench knife, double-edged, stainless steel, razor sharp. Life is fiery with its beauty. It's got a nice little pin-up girl there, right there on it. So I reckon this is just about as good as you're going to get is some fried taters and biscuits and mustard. So if you want to get one of these before they sell out with the murdered out brass knuckles, skull crusher, then I reckon you better get on over to thealexjonesstore.com while the getting's good. And I appreciate you keeping us on the air in our mission. I call it a Kaiser blade. And it's a limited edition right now. Limited edition, almost sold out. But all I know is the globalists shouldn't have done what they did to that boy, what Epstein did. So all I can say is they're going to have the Lord to deal with. But I just know you want this knife. It's selling out quick. TheAlexJonesStore.com. And I thank you for your support.
The bottom line on nuclear weapons is that when the president gives the order, it must be followed. There's about 4 minutes between the order being given and the people responsible for launching nuclear weapons to do so. As president, I will make it clear that the United States will treat cyber attacks just like any other attack. We will be ready with serious political, economic, and military responses.
They're voting for peace on planet Earth if they vote for Trump. But if they vote for Hillary, it's war.
We came, we saw, he died.
With her, you'll end up in World War III.
I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran.
Right now, Senator, for us to control all of the airspace in Syria would require us to go to war against Syria and Russia.
The U.S. military has just raised the threat level to DEFCON 2. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton is still threatening Russia with military action following unconfirmed reports of further hacking. It's like she's not even concerned about the repercussions.
Of course
Hang on,
not,
guys.
because she's...
There's a really loud noise.
All right, looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. We'll try to get Leanne back on in a few minutes.
When the president gives the order, it must be followed.
from almost 10 years ago on the eve of the 2016 election. And it's more pertinent today than ever because the very same globalists still run NATO, and they are openly trying to drag us into full, complete war with Russia, and that's what all this Greenland stuff with Trump is about. I mean, we need Greenland. He talked about in the first admin. The Pentagon has always wanted it. We have the endless leash, just like Guantanamo Bay, that both parties have to get out of it. Denmark claimed it had freedom. It didn't. The Chi-Coms are moving in. So on that level, it's the right move. But Trump's bizarre statements on the surface is exactly what I was predicting he was about to do. So it's trolling at one level, but that's just for public consumption. The real move I'll get to here in a moment. Trump will not rule out using force to take Greenland. When asked, he replied, no comment. The Pentagon has confirmed they've drawn up plans to take it by force. Now, I'm going to explain why that's happening as well. You want answers? I know what I'm talking about on this, all right? And he is playing 3D chess big time. Now, again, Trump is not 3D chess on all sorts of other things. I'm not putting him down. He's very smart. But when it comes to this, I know exactly what he's doing, and I'm explaining in a moment. I want to thank the viewers and listeners for your endless and tireless support over the years. We try to make it easy to be supporters with fabulous products that really enrich and empower your life. The widest selection of Patriot apparel, ball caps, T-shirts, hoodies, sweaters, you name it. All sorts of really cool knives, collectibles, and the most important, the best supplements you're going to find anywhere. Whatever the highest rated is, whatever has the best studies, whatever has the 5-star reviews. We just approach the companies. In almost every case, they let us private label it. When they don't, we just clone the product with another manufacturer and make it better. Real simple. But I'd say about 80% of the products, of the supplements, there's more than 30 of them on there now, are all just private labels. Just like when I got Kirk Elliott as a sponsor, I decided 26, 27 months ago, I said, yeah, I think silver and gold's about to do its big 10-year run. All the market factors and the industrial use of silver. I hadn't had a sponsor for 14 years, even though I had them knocking down my door. I'm not going to pitch something when it's not good. I'm going to bring silver and gold back. And my job was real easy. I said, who's the number one company in the U.S. that has the highest ratings? And he was number one and has the highest ratings, and on its face, sells wholesale. 100% know what it is every day. You know what you're getting, cut and dry. Are you not pleased? It's the same thing with the damn supplements, folks. And I have family when they visit town. I have people in grocery stores. Just all the time. I mean, I get it at least once a week. Hey, listen, are those supplements, are those real? I'm thinking about getting those. Is that snake oil? And I'm just like, why in the hell would I sell you something that doesn't work? What, you think I want to just rip you off one time? No, I want to get in bed with you. I want a relationship with you. God almighty. Again, I've said this 1,000 times. If I was going to open a restaurant, and I did back in high school and college, work in restaurants and waiters, and they would immediately make me a manager. And I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I know about it. But you're smart too. Again, what does a good salesman sell? Good things. The best salesmen know to sell the best products. They sell themselves. A restaurant that was smart has high quality, good food with great service, great atmosphere at a reasonable price that's consistent. And then you got lines around the block. You have constant regulars. That's my philosophy in news, in products, in culture. And the vast majority of you sit there. I'm not bitching at you, but maybe 1% of our audience never buys anything. And we love you. You're the tip of the spear. You're the reason we can do all this and change the world together. The rest of you are really missing out. I mean, if you don't get our ultramethylene blue, if you don't get our bovine colostrum, that's the very best. If you don't get our Shilajit or our CMOS, you're crazy. If you don't get our turmeric, that's the strongest out there. Anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, so good for you. You're crazy. I mean, quite frankly, you're nuts. And I had meetings with the accountants this weekend and with Bigley, hours and hours of them, and they said, Alex, you know, you don't run the company. You know, we were responsible. We listen to you, and we listen to you on products, but listen, you're the one keeps saying buy one, get one free, and you're the one that has sales going constantly. And we looked at the numbers. We're making a lot of money gross, but we ain't really keeping any money. We have to stop this. And I said, I know. I've habituated the audience to always getting insane good deals. I'm going to have to come up with a new table of what our best sales will ever be versus regular prices. But just buy the products to support us. But I've been so ridiculous about it, and so have they. They're just as bad as me. And it has got a lot of new customers, repeat customers, but at a certain point, it's got to stop. Because routinely, the sales we have are loss leaders, and you just can't float the boat with an empty river. I mean, here's another example. Big sales going on the side for 40% off on things like the World War II modern version trench knife. 40% off. I mean, the thing's only got like 80% markup line. So you can't run a company with 40% with all the stuff that goes on. Here's another example. I know these badass trucker hats cost them like $15 a piece. Okay, they sell for like $25, $30. Limited edition InfoWars black on white trucker hat, free with every order. And they had this thing going since Thursday. I didn't notice it till Sunday, so I had them extend it one day today. But that's it. Every order gets one of these, limited edition, in there. Get yours now, thealexshowstore.com. But with the deals we got, we need to sell a lot of stuff to fund this operation. So do yourself a favor, Mr. Sit on the Fencey. I'm not mad at you. I'm telling you. Did I tell you gold and silver we're going to at least double in the next couple of years? And it's overperformed that, okay? Did I tell you it's the surest thing I ever saw? A lot of you have been listening for a long time. You heard me pitch silver and gold for 14 years now because it wasn't a good deal. This is a sure thing here, folks. As sure as it gets. Unless a meteorite blows the planet up next week or something. So, I am not going to steer you wrong. Get the methylene blue. We have the best. It is so good for you. It is so game-changing. 99% of people. I've given it to over 500 people, and 3 people I know didn't have any effect, energy-wise. So that's more than 99%. 99+% feel it within 30 minutes. But the real effect takes a few weeks to kick in. So good for your mind, so good for all your cells, so good for your telomeres. Just get a bottle of ultramethylene blue. Support the broadcast. Finally, because we got even more documents in and more depositions and things, we are about to file our huge, massive civil rights suit with conspiracy against rights, all the proof, the DOJ, the CIA, the Democratic Party, the law firms. I mean, this is, and by the way, under the rules, we had to show them the suit a few weeks ago, and they went completely ape and threatened us and everything else with all this stuff they're going to do. Great, because we got all the evidence up one side and down the other. But I'm taking on the big boys. So know this: the majority of the funding you send us buying products goes to the fight against the tyrants, and we are fully committed to that. They want this show off the air because I know what I'm talking about. That's why I get mad at the shows that are, innuendo and conspiracy theories. I've never been a conspiracy theorist, folks. That's what the media calls me. That's a CIA term. I am an analyst. I'm a futurist. And I know what I'm talking about. And my guests know what they're talking about. You know my rule. Who do I have on all the time? People that are consistently right. I associate with people that got their acts together. And I can tell you, we know what we're doing. And this broadcast belongs to you. You built this. It's fighting for your future, my future, all of us collectively. But we can't do it without you. Make the commitment in this ocean of media information. The bad guys particularly hate this show because we know what we're doing. We're steering people right. But we can't take these people on without you. I need your support. Word of mouth, prayer, and financial support, and I make it damn easy. This is a win-win. All you got to do is go to thealexshowstore.com and get the supplements. All right, I'm going to stop there. I'm just getting ready to go to war. I mean, we're going to depose hundreds of people. We've got research teams, hardcore top lawyers that are totally pissed, that have won giant judgments, across the country over and over again, who are, by the way, are obsessed with this case now because they can't believe it. We have the CIA, FBI running the attacks. We have all the proof. We have the leaks. We have whistleblowers. We have the documents. We have the depositions. I mean, this is just absolute. I mean, I'm in Crossfire Hurricane. I'm in Arctic Frost. It's all over the news. I'm in the top 30 people targeted by the deep state consistently because there's every time stuff gets declassified, I'm right there at the top. I'm always in there, and that's okay. People said, God, why don't you give up? No, I got in this knowing it'd be a fight. I'm just saying we are now on their ass, folks. You notice I'm still banned everywhere but X and Rumble. All these other people spewing totally made up crap that just discredits everything. They're not just on every other network. They're force-fed and pushed to discredit everybody. And then I see these people that say, oh, Jones is criticizing this person because he's jealous. I love other talk show hosts that are telling the truth. I love other journalists that are fighting the globalists. They want to put me in prison and kill me. They want to enslave you. If there were a whole bunch of badass talk show hosts and we were totally winning right now, and there were people way better than me, I would quit right now. I'd say, hey, crew, you can run it. Who wants to come run the InfoWars network? If people don't, I'd shut this son of a bitch down. I've been doing this 32 years in April, and I've poured my soul into it. And it's not that I don't want to keep doing it. It's that now it's all I do. When I sleep, all I do is dream about this. When I get up at 4 a.m., it's all I do. I am so completely committed now that I am a machine, and that I don't even think I could quit if I tried now. And it's frightening. And so I guess it's a good thing I'm so committed, but it's getting more intense. It's getting where I don't even. I'm a robot now. I just. But I still have all the emotions. My soul's stronger than ever, and my discernment is way more powerful. And my knowledge of things, and it's very painful to see people caught up in the system. And I just. It's not like I want to quit and want to stop. It's the opposite. I realize that if I don't pull back soon, I'll be completely, absolutely overtaken by this fight because there's already not much left of me. And by that, of the old Alex Jones, the guy that was funny, the guy that liked sunsets, the person that had, things other than this. But I've always been mainly focused on fighting the globalists, but now it's all I can do. It's all I can think about. I mean, I just have dreams about fighting the globalists and all this technical stuff, and I work during my dreams, and I wake up during them. I'm like, God, please let me just dream about something nice like I used to. Please, can I just have a little bit of rest? Can I just have some time where I'm not, in this? And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that when I see people say, Jones is criticizing Candace Owens because he's jealous of her. I like Candace. She's done a lot of great work. And I went and looked at what she was putting out and doing, and it was made up, insane crap. We disproved it. Mitch, Snow, and Huachuca, and the planes. And now she says, no, it's time traveling. And the government followed her as a kid and Charlie as a kid, and he got control of the secrets of the Mesopotamia or whatever. And he is the holder of the keys, like Gozer the Traveler in Ghostbusters or something. And I'm just like watching this, and it's just like, it discredits everything. And so I was just honest about it, and I got pissed off about it. And I mean, what do you expect me to do here? Doesn't mean I don't question TPUSA. It doesn't mean I don't think that there was other people helping kill Charlie. But when I looked at the whole attack by her and this whole group, it was take down TPUSA no matter what, hit them with all these other made-up things. And I could see that they were working with the Democrats, all these other Democrat podcasters and talk show hosts, and big tech boosting what she was doing. I didn't mean to single her out. She was just kind of the lead elephant, stampeding this. And I just felt a responsibility. I mean, I do what God tells me. The Holy Spirit's like, what she's doing wrong. She's wild-eyed, enjoying it, bullying people. And I want you to go after her. And you saw me at first, and I wanted to do it because I'm Mr. Don't Infight. Everybody knows that. But when our own people really are working for the other side, either consciously or unconsciously, I had a responsibility to do it. And that's the only reason I did that. And it tore my guts out. And you notice I didn't do much of a victory lap. I did a little bit with Fuentes, but it's not a victory lap. And then I saw people go, oh, well, she doesn't literally mean time travel. She doesn't literally mean, yeah, no, she said she literally believed it. And my point is that it gets more wild, more insane, more crazy each day. Next, she's going to tell you she's Santa Claus. And so that's why I said 5 weeks ago, I said, Candace, have you had a breakdown? Have you had a nervous breakdown? Because I knew she'd been given the stuff on Mitch Snow being a con artist, and I didn't want to bring that out. I wanted her to drop it. Don't drop the Charlie Kirk investigation. Just drop that. And she didn't. Her and her surrogates came after me. And I might have got a little emotional and, pissed off about it because I don't like attacking people that have been traditionally on our side. But my problem is I get excited about anything I do. Once I do it, I'm going to go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? So I want to see leaders and people that I know get it, that are dialed in, that are clicked in, and I'm out of here. You ain't going to see me no more. And I've told you this for decades. My mission is to become obsolete. My mission is to have so many people awake, so many people knowing what's going on, that they can't kill one or two of us and shut this down. We still have a lot of people who have a big general knowledge, big understanding of certain things, but they don't have the full spectrum knowledge to be able, like a hologram, pull up all the different systems and pieces. I saw the host of Dark Waters the other day. He did a really good analysis. I like that guy because, he says it's exactly what I'm thinking. It's like we're simpatico. It's the Spirit, Holy Spirit. And he was describing, got this whole 3D model up, seeing all the pieces together, and you got to, click to that to get it. And all I'm trying to do is get people to see what I'm seeing. I'm not up here on the mountain saying, man, I got all the answers and aren't I great? I'm up here chewed up, shot up, bleeding, arrows sticking out of me. And I got a responsibility to keep fighting. And I'm just like, how much do I have to be proven right about? How many times do I have to be proven right for people to listen to me? Okay? I'm giving you everything I got, okay? Everything I got. And I can't do it without your prayer. That's all I'm asking for, because I am... I'm the opposite of tired. I am consumed. And my knowledge is growing exponentially. And the problem is I don't have ways to describe things properly because they're so complex. And I know a lot of you are smart too. You have that same conundrum. And that's why we got the Holy Spirit to lead, guide, and direct us together. And then through that Spirit guiding us all together, that's how we're getting the synergy. And we're independent, but the oneness under Christ is the only way we're not going to blow the planet up. Because humans are made in the image of God. And you see, we're building God-like systems. Doesn't mean we're gods. We're made in the image of God. But we're like monkeys running around, in a weapons factory with hand grenades or something. And if we aren't being guided by the Holy Spirit, which doesn't take our will, doesn't enslave us, doesn't turn us into automatons, but through that interface, we get guided into that symphony of God's system. That's the only way we're not going to all kill each other. And the Bible says the beginning of knowledge is sorrow. And with great knowledge comes great sorrow. And it's a very bittersweet, the sorrow is sweet. It's bitter and sweet. The way I would describe it is the feeling of nostalgia. Nostalgia is a pain, but it's a good pain. And I've always had nostalgic thoughts. I know you do too, but now I'm just constantly in nostalgia. Constantly reassessing the past, reassessing things that happened to get clues to the current, the future. Because those who don't know history didn't repeat it. And I just feel the incredible will of our species and all we've been through and all the struggles and all the fights of our ancestors to then just give over our humanity and just let the satanic system come in and give us poison shots that attack our DNA and literally vandalize the code that God created. And I just am a fan of humanity. I'm such a supporter and lover and backer of one of God's greatest works. And I just hate seeing people hate humanity. I hate seeing people turn to the dark side. I hate seeing people that really just can't get that connection to God they really need to burn out all the devil that's in them. And I'm not up here on some high horse, folks. Let me tell you something. Without God, I'd be the worst devil you can imagine. But through God, I have been reprieved. I have been saved. I have been jerked back. For with much wisdom comes much sorrow. The more knowledge, the more grief. Ecclesiastes 1:18. Boy, ain't that the truth. But the pain is completion. And on the other side of it is victory. But you get an idea of God's timelessness and God's loneliness. That's why God made sentient beings with consciousness and free will. Because God did not want to be alone. And you really, within the timelessness of that, can feel God's spirit of love and decency and perfection and beauty, but also you can feel the sadness in God's heart. I feel God's sadness every moment. And as sadness intensifies, I'm literally just like, God, really, how much more discernment are you about to give me? Because I can't handle it. And I know why most people don't want to get involved in doing good, because it's scary to get involved in good. Evil comes after you. It's also scary to face all these bad things that are happening. But let me tell you something. The alternative to serving Satan is much worse. So just do what you're supposed to do, folks. But I wanted to be honest with you. I didn't get into why Trump's doing what he's doing with these statements on Greenland that people say is so crazy. There's a method to the madness there. That's coming up. I'm going to give the number out. Take your phone calls. Some of the other massive subjects straight ahead. Hour number 2. Please stay with us.
They looked at sleep deprivation with creatine supplementation. And so they randomized people to either drink a placebo drink or drink 20 grams of creatine through the night. And they kept them awake all night. And they had them do brain puzzle quizzes. And when the subjects were getting the 20 grams of creatine, they did way better on the brain puzzles, but they also complained about being tired a lot less. And so the conclusion is creatine is somehow acutely preventing your brain from suffering during sleep deprivation. And the rationale there is, mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell, or the power plant that's producing the energy. Creatine is like the power grid, and it distributes that energy throughout the cell. And so if the purpose of sleep is to restore the energy that you used up, but then you intervene by putting creatine in there, now you can keep that energy going, and you can go more hours before you need to get rest and restore that energy because you've increased your capacity to distribute it.
That makes sense. Used to be, people only thought of creatine as being a muscle thing. To help you recover. But then over the last year or two, I started talking about cognitive function.
There is some literature on traumatic brain injury where 20 grams of creatine for 6 months doubles the rate of healing.
Whoa. That's incredible.
But it's, just creatine, I called it more than a performance enhancer because if you just look at where it's distributed in the body, almost every cell and every tissue has the creatine system. And if you look at the literature, they'll say, well, it's more important in certain cells, like it's really important in your muscles because your muscles have this very polarized, sometimes they're at rest, sometimes their energy demand is going through the roof. And it's really important in like long cells. So for example, your retina is part of your central nervous system, and it's a really long cell that's coming from the brain into the eye. And creatine helps move energy back and forth. But if you just look at instead of where is it most important, you just like, where is it? It's like almost every cell in your body has creatine, and it's helping distribute the energy that the mitochondria make throughout your whole body. And that includes pumping stomach acid. It includes sperm swimming up the vaginal canal. And so if you just look at where it is, you would think that creatine would help a lot more than muscles. And I think creatine is really important because it's not in the mitochondria so much as it carries forth the mitochondrial energy of the rest of the cell, but that also feeds back in the repair functions for the mitochondria. And so I think creatine, optimizing your creatine status is super important. And I think that everyone who's not eating 1 or 2 pounds of meat per day should probably be taking creatine.
Into this realm at your own risk, because it leads to the future. Not a future that will be, but one that might be. This is not a new world. It is simply an extension of what began in the old one. It has gotten itself after every dictator who has ever planted the ripping imprint of a boat on the pages of history since the beginning of time. It has refinements, technological advances, and a more sophisticated approach to the destruction of human freedom. But like every one of the superstates that preceded it, it has one iron rule. Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace. This is Mr. Romney Wordsworth in his last 48 hours on Earth. He's a citizen of the state, but will soon have to be eliminated because he's built out of flesh and because he has a mind.
You've been under investigation, Mr. Wordsworth, for the mandatory period of 1 year and 11 months. You're found to be obsolete. The purpose of this hearing is to make a finding in the matter and make a sentence accordingly. Do you understand that, Mr. Wordsworth? Your occupation, Mr. Wordsworth?
A librarian, sir.
A librarian. Having to do with books.
Yes, sir. Books.
Since there are no more books, Mr. Wordsworth, there are no more libraries. The field investigators in your sector have classified you as obsolete. Your rights are as follows, Mr. Wordsworth. You are to be liquidated within a period of 48 hours. You are obsolete, Mr. Wordsworth.
A lie. No man is obsolete.
You have no function, Mr. Wordsworth. You're an anachronism, like a ghost from another time.
I am nothing more than a reminder to you that you cannot destroy truth by burning pages.
You're a bug, Mr. Wordsworth, a crawling insect, an ugly, misformed little creature who has no purpose here, no meaning.
I am a human being.
Delusions, Mr. Wordsworth. Delusions that you inject into your veins with printer's ink. The narcotics that you call literature, poetry, essays of all kind, all of it an opiate. You have nothing but spindly limbs and a dream, and the state has no use for your kind.
I don't care. I tell you, I don't care. I'm a human being. I exist. And if I speak one thought aloud, that thought lives, even after I'm shoveled into my grave.
The Chancellor of the late Chancellor was only partly correct. He was obsolete. But so is the state, the entity he worshipped. Any state, any entity, any ideology that fails to recognize the worth, the dignity, the rights of man, that state is obsolete.
Now, I told you many years ago that we would beat the globalist system that was going to fall apart. We knew that for sure just because of God's promise and knowing humanity's destiny. But when China, 17 years ago, totally broke with the globalists, I said, that's it, it'll fall apart. It'll take time, though. Could be decades, could be sooner. And now, before Trump got reelected, I said, look, he's going to win. It's going to be a giant landslide. It'll look like a small landslide because of the fraud. And I said they will then admit that the neoliberal, that's what they call it, New World Order is dead. That's now all over the Financial Times, all over Wall Street Journal, New York Times. They admit it's over. Carney was top globalist. They installed in Canada, was just in China last week. He pledged allegiance to Xi Jinping. And when the reporter said, well, what did that mean, the New World Order with Canada, China, and the EU? He said, well, that's going to be the EU, China, and us against America. So there's a power vacuum now, and everything's up for grabs. And if we don't grab the Panama Canal, and if we don't push into Venezuela, and if we don't get into Greenland, we've just handed it all over. And you can say, well, God, that sounds imperial. Well, what do you think all this is? The point is, this is America running its own affairs. And if we don't get control of our hemisphere, we're done. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Well, it was 26 months ago. We should go pull that interview and re-air it. Then I got Dr. Kirk Elliott on, who is a sponsor, but that's a side issue. He's a top economist, 25-year company, overnight success story. It's a joke. Number one silver gold broker in North America. Economist. And I knew it was time to get back in after 14 years of not promoting silver and gold because it was speculative before that. It's not speculative now. All the indicators are in one direction. It'd be like if they put 10,000 pounds of TNT up on the side of a cliff and drilled into it, and then people said, well, which way will the rocks fall? They're going to fall down. This is not rocket science, folks. The only question is, how much does it go up? It's a global all-time high again today, $95 an ounce for silver. And all the indicators are for silver and gold. All the major institutions are flooding in right now. Soon the public's going to figure this out. And when the retail buyer gets involved, Katie, bar the door. Still, the retail population has not figured it out. And despite that, places like Costco are running out of silver. The exchanges are running out. The minute the general public figures this out, you're going to have exponential price increases, and your problem will be getting it. But that's not why Kirk's here. When he leaves us at the bottom of the hour, I will get to the big Greenland situation and why that's so important. They're calling Trump completely insane for the letter he issued. This is 3D chess. Trump is not 3D chess on everything, but in geopolitics, he's 3D chess. On economics, he's 3D chess. And I know exactly what he's doing, why he's doing it. I'll explain after Kirk leaves us. But we have exponentially more incredible developments day to day. Kirk is very busy, very hard to get on. Dr. Elliott, let's go over the latest developments and what we're seeing here as this unfolds.
Yeah, I mean, it's daily, even on a holiday when the markets aren't open, silver's soaring, right? So Eric Sprott, brilliant metals guy, analyst, has his own company. He's calling for $300 silver. So there's an article that was written about his video.
By the way, what did I say? What did I say last week? I said I see 300.
You did
this year.
Yes, you did.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, you did. And I'm the king of understating things, right? I mean, I think that we were going to hit $200 by the end of this year. We could possibly absolutely blow through that. Remember a couple weeks ago, I said, we're going to be $100 before the end of this month. And we're at 95 right now. I think what's happening is this paradigm shifting moment of where, and you nailed it in your first comments here, this is not a speculative run. This is true fundamental supply and demand. You know, what was speculative in the past? The Hunt brothers, they were speculators trying to corner the market. That was a speculative run. In 2010, when silver went from 12 to 48, a 4x increase in like 9 months, that was a speculative run.
And I told listeners at the time, with economists I had on, they were honest too. They said, listen, this is a get in, get out thing. We told them this is speculative, and we told them at the top, get out. This is a totally different animal.
And we did as a firm, we got out of silver when it was at, and we rolled into gold, and then gold from 2011 till 2020, we were in gold. So people think, oh, Kirk is just a silver guy. No, I'm not. I don't care. I don't care which metal we're in as long as it's the one that's outperforming.
Well, you said when you first came on 26, 27 months ago, folks, don't touch gold, go silver. It's what, almost double performed gold. It's the number one investment in the world. It was the perfect, you nailed it.
Yeah. I mean, last year, silver was up 147%, gold was up 60 something. Okay, it outperformed. This year to date, Alex, these numbers are astronomical off the charts. Silver is up 32.45% year to date. It's January 19th. It's like, oh my word, we're up 32% in the first 2.5 weeks of the year. Gold's up 8.2%, not too shabby, but what does that mean? Silver is outperforming gold by a factor of 4 times. 4 times faster growth than gold. So why not be in silver, right? So we are. Now, Eric Sprott, brilliant analyst, right? So his thesis is $300 silver. That's what you said. Mine was 200. So here's why. I want to just go over some bullet points of why. So when we are looking at a physical shortage of silver, this isn't speculation like 2010. This isn't speculation like the Hunt brothers. In 2010, we didn't have ETFs, Alex. We didn't have AI chips. We didn't have cryptocurrency mining. We didn't have electric vehicles, really, in 2010. This is now an actual supply and demand physical shortage of silver.
And we didn't have Trump and other governments creating a floodgate of monetizing and bringing silver in as an open investment.
Yes, absolutely. So you look at where America is headed with Trump putting silver on the critical materials list, right, for national security reasons, which is why he's looking at Greenland for national security reasons, right? And you're going to talk about that when I'm done here, but I want to address Greenland just a little bit, why this is causing a massive potential supply shortage in silver, which is going to cause the price to go up even further.
Not to mention, as you predicted, Venezuela, but please do, yeah.
Venezuela, yeah. So there's impossible demand math here, impossible, right? So global mine supply, like we talked about a couple of shows ago, is 800 million ounces annually. India, in October alone, bought 55 million ounces. Annualized, that's 660 million ounces. Wait a second. India is on pace to do probably 80% of the global mining supply every single year. This is impossible math. You look at the short positions that Bank of America has, upwards of along with Citi, about 4.4 billion ounces of silver in short position with 830 million ounces annual production. This is impossible math. Ultimately, you run out. And what are they going to do when people that own those short positions want physical delivery? They're not going to get it, Alex. This is why the prices keep going up, right? So COMEX is actually running out of silver. Why is COMEX running out of silver? The last article I sent you that we were talking about talks about what China's offering for silver right now. It's about $103 an ounce today. They are offering $103 an ounce when silver is 90, 95. Why would they offer that much more? Why would they put export controls on silver for the rest of the world? Because they're out, Alex. This is why they're out. They want to be the first in line, offering a massive premium when people are selling, locking in their profits, which is premature. People should not do that right now, but some people are. They're not educated. They're just selling, locking in profits. And China is the first one to gobble it up at $103 an ounce. So what are hedge funds, what are big banks doing? They're unloading COMEX to ship it to China. Because if you can buy in America at $95 an ounce, sell it in China the same day for $103, that's instant.
And you explained this a month ago. I forget the exact number, but did they offer like 90 when it was 80? It's the same thing. They want first dibs, and they know where the market's going. So this is basically the real price of silver in the market is 103 right now.
Exactly. And so because China is where the strength is headed in the physical markets, right? Because they're the massive manufacturer of the world still. They're the largest producer of silver in the world still, right? And so when their price is 103, to me, that's the actual price, right? Because that's where the markets are headed. Now, What Trump is doing is absolutely incredible. And this is where we're going to have even more shortages coming up, like in a big, big way. So let's say that you're COMEX. Why would you send metals to London to fulfill their shortfall?
They're not going to do it.
We know with Trump's tariffs on because of Greenland, right? What does Trump want to slap on the European Union? 10 to 25% tariffs, right? So if you're going to fund the shortfall in London, it's almost like, who cares? Who cares if the price that they're offering is like China, $103 an ounce, which it's not, but let's say that it were. If you send it to London to fulfill their shortfall and Trump slaps a 25% tariff on the EU, you're going to have to pay an extra 25% to get it back.
This is open,
maybe next month.
This is open economic warfare. And
absolutely.
And Trump said the lawsuits against U.S. companies, the censorship is the real reason he's doing all this. So there's some very smart thinking there.
Yeah, so here's where there's already a shortfall. We've already addressed this numerous times. You don't have to go over it again.
A monstrous shortfall that only cascades into the future.
Yeah, and now with potential for tariffs, there's not a single wise, operationally management type silver producer that's actually going to send silver to London if they know that if they're going to get it back to fulfill demand in America.
So you're saying their exchange will run out, which has already basically happened before, triggering the latest run. So what do the numbers show? When is that? When do they run out? How do they try to cover that up with another glitch, claiming the lights went off or something?
Well, potentially. I mean, we don't know exactly when it runs out, but here's the math. 813 million ounces of production a year globally through all the mines, $4.4 billion in short positions, which aren't long-term positions. Like these are usually 3 months.
Yeah, but China wouldn't be paying a giant premium if they didn't know.
I know.
So what does their move signify? What do they think the timeline is?
By them paying that much right now, probably in a matter of half a year or less would be my guess. Right, because why would you pay a 10% premium for something if you were not concerned about it? You wouldn't, right? So you would just wait. You would just wait till futures contracts expire, which are like probably 90 days out, and you would just go through normal business.
And let's be clear, there's also a rare earth mineral battle between Trump and China. Now where the U.S. is just going into the markets buying it up, even though it's mined by China. That's going to drive this up as well because it's part of that basket.
Absolutely. I mean, this is absolutely correct. And this is why Trump, in his wisdom right now, signed the executive order last week to actually put price floors on silver for other countries. Why? He's trying to negotiate deals with other countries outside of China and the BRICS nations saying, hey, if you're a producer of silver, here, we'll put a price floor on it.
Yeah, let's be clear. China went in and made all the deals, undercut us. Trump is going directly and cutting them off right now.
Yeah, and going to other countries saying, if you will negotiate with us to get us silver because it's now a critical material that we need for national security, we're going to put a price floor on it. So you don't need to worry about it. See, what is that going to do? It's going to absolutely cut off China from the knees. They stopped exporting already. So Trump is saying, all right, we don't need China. I'm going to cut deals with other countries, put a price floor on it so we can continue to get it in. Now, the fact that China, which is the largest exporter of silver on the planet, is no longer exporting silver to the rest of the world, massive supply issue. Add to that Trump's tariffs, potential tariffs on the EU because of Greenland. London, as we talked about, Alex, all roads lead to London in the metals markets. In the financial world, all roads always lead to London. They aren't going to get their supply. Not only are they not going to get it from China, they're not going to get it from COMEX. And now here's us as investors. Here's the manufacturers of the world being Sony, Samsung, LG, Lockheed Martin, which is actually a matter of national security, right? How about the nuclear industry? What about AI chips? These are all needed for national security, right? So Trump is trying to shore up supply, but that doesn't matter because it is not going to go through London. So for people like us, we're going to ultimately run out of supply. Now, this is going to cause the price to go up a lot. I mean,
and that's a total no-brainer. So privately, you've been projecting the numbers we're at. You always, under promise, over deliver. But looking at this, if you look at all of the amplification effects, the inflation, the industrial uses, the trade wars, the cutoff of major silver supplies, one of the biggest suppliers in the world, Venezuela, all that. What is the term in economics? So there's different ones. I just kind of a man of the streets that's learned this watching. I don't have all the technical terms in my mind, but I see how it all intersects. What is it called where something gets so hot and it's not available and it goes up so high that it then crashes and kind of destroys the market? Well, that's a tulip. That's a mania. You don't need tulips to live. With silver in all the computers, you can. So I don't see there's any way that even an overheating somehow makes people pull back from it. I see it creating the run of runs. I think we're about, and look, I think, who knows what silver might do. It might shoot up to $1,000 an ounce and then plunge back down to 500. It doesn't matter, folks. I mean, the point is, all I see is bull, bull, bull. I just see bull market, bull market. The question is, how violent and volatile will it get? Is that accurate?
Yeah, it is accurate. I mean, you talked about the tulip, man. That was a Dutch bubble in tulips way back in the day, right? Hundreds of years ago. We saw tech stocks in 2000 went through a speculative bubble. Most things that we see are speculative bubbles. They're not tied to supply and demand, right? Whether it's tech stocks or AI chips or NVIDIA, all these things that we're seeing, they're not necessarily manias, but they're certainly bubbles that are caused by excess capital entering the market.
They're definitely gold. I would call them gold rushes.
Yeah, it's like a gold rush, right? But this is not that. This is true supply and demand. This is so different than anything that we've experienced in the past. Because could you get by in life without a stock? Sure, you could. Could you get by in life without silver? I kind of doubt it.
I was about to use the analogy of oxygen. Oxygen's not a tulip. For industry, for computers, for our satellites, for weapons, this is like oxygen. To robots and computers, this is oxygen. So a giant bubble in this is not is even an issue.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how high the prices go? I mean, at that point, how much will manufacturers pay if they go out of business without silver? It's not like this flat screen TV behind me is made of 100% silver. It's not. And people said, Kirk, this is insane. This is going to put everything that we buy out of reach if silver goes to $1,000 an ounce. It's like, no, it won't. That TV probably has 2 ounces of silver in it. So, Sony's going to have to raise the prices on it.
Well, bottom line is it either continues to grow historically best investment or it can go completely bonker town. And we'll tell people, you'll tell them, hey, we're in speculative market here. If silver hit $500 by next year, I would imagine you'd come on there and say, you might want to sell some, folks. I think we're being conservative here.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the ratio trade that we've been talking about, right? Ultimately, I don't care, Alex, if we're in gold or silver. I don't. I want to be in the one that's outperforming, the one that's doing better, right? And it happens to be silver right now. But even, we've talked about ultimately we are going to lock in profits in silver, roll them into gold. And then as gold outperforms, because central banks are going into it and so forth, we will be in the right place at the right time the majority of the time. Now, Bank of Montreal just this morning did something. It's like, okay, this is amazing. They warned that the silver gold ratio is going to approach a historic bottom. Okay, this is what we've been talking about. What's the historic bottom? It's like 20-1 historically, but modern day, this was in 2010, it got to 30-1, meaning it takes 30 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. Where is it today? Around 50. Where was it around Christmas time? Close to 80. That ratio is shrinking. So as it approaches, according to Bank of Montreal, and what I've been saying for 2 years, we are going to approach this bottom. It means silver is going to dramatically outperform gold, which as we see already year to date, up 32%, gold's up 8%. It is growing by a factor of 4 times faster than gold. Now, gold gets all of the media attention.
I know I have family and listeners go, why don't you like gold? And I'm like, I love gold. Silver is the thing that has been underperforming.
I love gold too. I love it too.
It's the one that's suppressed. So let's pitch this now. Folks, you can call, get a free consultation. You can also roll over financial instruments. This is the surest thing out there. The number one investment the last 2 years has been silver. Number 2 is gold, and it's a far behind that. Kirk Elliott's the top rated with the certified best prices. You know what wholesale is every day. That's what you're getting. You can sell it back with no charge. Nobody does that. Kirk can only do this because he's so huge now. The scalability, his profits are so small. But I go with him, even though we get a fraction of the sponsorship, because I will not rip you off, folks. It's not rocket science. People selling you numismatic, collectible stuff. It's a lie, folks. You can look at wholesale. You can know what you're getting. It'll be online, every day. Here's wholesale. You get it from Kirk at that. Now, notice what you're getting from him for silver. I guess there's a little bit of the wholesale, $97 or whatever an ounce. Go somewhere else. Oh, it's a collectible. It's $150 a coin. I mean, no. This is not rocket science, folks. Listen to me. Go to Kirk Elliott right now. KPM.com/gold. KPM.com/gold. 720-605-3900. Kirk, tell people how they get in touch with you and what you're offering.
Yeah, so go to that link that we made for you or call us at that number. And here's what you can do. You can roll over your IRA. You can roll over an old 401k. You can roll over a current 401k if you're over 59 and a half. Get out of paper, right? Like we've talked about before. This, with Trump's tariffs, that's going to not do good for the stock market. It's going to do great for precious metals. With the Japanese bond market collapsing, great for precious metals. Get out of paper, roll into physical, tangible gold and silver, IRAs, 401ks, cash accounts, brokerage accounts. We can help you with it. Whether you take delivery of it or you store it, up to you. We'll navigate through that with you.
I mean, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make it drink. I know you got to go, and I got to cover other news, but do 2 more minutes with us. I want to ask how the Japanese getting rid of that trade has helped contribute to this as well. When we come back with Dr. Kirk Elliott, we'll be right back. Stay with us. This is so important, folks. You may not care about silver and gold, but it cares about you. I didn't plug last hour because I've been so focused on the news. If I don't plug, we won't be here because I'm not funded by the Qataris or the Israelis or the Russians or the Jews or the Easter bunnies. I am funded by you. So I'm going to sell you products that really work so you want them. Now, we got 2 different flavors, Fruit Punch and in Freedom Mango. I didn't name this. It's it looks like a firecracker. It's a beautiful cover. Ultimate power. How about unlimited power? Never Palpatine. But it really is a pre-workout, post-workout, Turbo Force 2.0. I mean, this is seriously powerful, super high quality. Everything it does for your body is next level. Ignites mental clarity and focus, clean, sustained energy, enhanced blood flow and endurance, supports daily cognitive function. L-citrulline converts to L-arginine. Don't know what that does. We got the best formula of it. It's amazing. L-theanine, relax, wake up, clarity and focus. Natural caffeine from coffee concentrated. Vitamin B12, the highest quality, B6, and more. This is really strong. If you love Turbo Force, you're going to love Ultimate Power. We should call it Unlimited Power. I remember Palpatine on the cover. The point is that it funds the operation. I said, hey, we need a clone of this product or make it better for their store. And they said, okay, this is what they came out with. I've been on them for a year to do this. It's really strong. Tiny little scoop. This thing, by the way, is heavy. This is like a whole bunch of servings, like a couple months worth. So get yours now. I like the Fruit Punch flavor. And by the way, today's one of the last days where you can get 60% off on Ultramethylene Blue, Irish Sea Moss, Shilajit, and more at thealexjonesstore.com. Thanks for your support. Hour number 4 straight ahead. All right, after Kirk leaves us here in a few minutes, I'm going to tell you what's really going on with Greenland. And when I tell you this is what's going on, just watch. This is so important to understand. This is 3D chess by Trump. Now, my enemies will take a clip of me saying Trump is not 3D chess. on other issues, it'd be like Tom Brady saying he's 3D chess as a quarterback. Maybe he's not 3D chess as a downhill skier. Trump has blind spots. So do I. Okay? I get big theoretical plans and things. I'm not, good at little minutia. So when I say that, I know Trump's MO. But on this, he is a savant. He's got a bunch of the other top people around him, and Dr. Elliott's an economist. He's been predicting this, and it's been happening. So I want to finish up here with the question I asked you in the break. But also, as these different exchanges in the COMEX run out, will they have to close at some point, as you predicted months ago, and it goes directly to government sales? And you predict now the Pentagon's moving into silver smelting and it's talking about securing silver mines around the world now that it's a national security issue. And, I just see wild gold rushes, pun intended, silver rushes, not out of hype, but just, you lay the numbers out. 10 years to get a big mine going, they have like a fraction of the silver they need just for industrial uses. Then you have global inflation, and then you have all this, the rest of this going on. My Lord. I think we've been very conservative here, and I know they don't have the tricks with the naked shorting up their sleeves. You've got the big central banks and brokerage firms already caught trying to do that with their butts hanging out. So what will that do to the fiat economy as this all unfolds? And then a lot of analysts say, well, Trump's created a new stock market, bull run, but could that fall apart? And then what does that do if it does fall apart? I'm not an economist like you, but that would only push silver and gold up even more. So it's like any avenue you go down, we go from explosive growth to absolutely parabolic, insane growth, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not convinced that the stock market's going to keep going up. This is the reason why. The global growth over the last 40 years, Alex, has been because of 0% interest rates in Japan. Meaning, you can buy the Japanese yen at zero, get that money, and instant arbitrage, invest in U.S. treasuries, European treasuries, U.S. stock market, and make a profit, right? So this is what big banks, hedge funds have been doing for 40 years. Japan, because of their inflation, had to start jacking up their interest rates. Alex, the first time in 30 years, interest rates are higher than they've been in 30 years in Japan. The carry trade is over, which means what? Global stimulus, which has caused global growth in the stock markets globally, is over. Literally, it's over. There is no more carry trade, right? So that means countries are going to be left to their own devices to try to stimulate their own economy, because that is done. You get to a point where it goes too high, you ultimately have to pay the piper. Japan has to pay the piper. They can't afford the inflation in their own country, so they had to raise interest rates. Alex, I think we're going to see a correction in the stock market. Even if Trump brings jobs back, people are working, wages are going up, he makes America better. But the stock market is not just a US-centric thing. It is a global market that people from all over the world invest into stock markets, right? And the yen carry trade is going to have dramatic implications on that, which are going to have dramatic implications on tangible assets like gold and silver. The opposite, though. Gold and silver will go up, equities, bonds probably come down. And that's how I see it. You look at these things and it's like, I don't understand why people think, oh, this is going to keep going on. This is going to continue. Not when the global financing has ended. There's a difference. This is a paradigm shifting moment where we're now moving away from money creation as we've known it, from central bank fiat-based money creation, to even central banks saying, hey, we want to start backing our currency with something tangible, something real, right? And Trump is even looking at one step further, right? The 3D chess that you talked about, we're going into a digital economy. So yeah, let's attach the US dollar to stable coins on the blockchain, right? To create demand for the US dollar that wasn't there before, right? So Trump is doing everything he can do with the political headwinds that he has to stimulate the US economy. But I think a lot of it is going to be so difficult because the yen carry trade is over. that I think we all feel the dramatic hit of that. So in the meantime, just take advantage of these markets, allocate into tangible assets. This is why part of the reason why gold and silver are going up so much. It's my take on it.
I mean, it really is an amazing time to be alive. And again, even if people aren't in silver and gold, it signals just huge seismic developments in the global economy. And you have the Fed chairman under criminal investigation for lying about the $3 billion innovation. Obviously, that is pressure on him. I know they're probably going to at least do a quarter basis point again. The difference is, will it be too late? What is your prognosis? Trump, even if there's a correction, thinks by the middle of next year there's a turnaround. We're seeing some signs of the economy turning around. What's your real prognosis?
I think that Jerome Powell will do another quarter point rate reduction before he leaves in the next few months to add to his legacy, right? He's got to do this to try to stimulate the economy, or else he's going to go down as a horrible Fed chair, right? Under potential scrutiny for overspendings, you know, all the stuff that's happening. So he'll lower interest rates. That will cause gold and silver to go up. That could actually benefit the stock market temporarily. And another reason why I think is because of the political ramifications. We're going into an election year. People vote with their wallets, Alex. So lowering the interest rates right now is going to have a lot of political backing behind it to get this economy kind of cooking while people are deciding who they want to vote for.
KEPM.com/gold, 720-605-3000. Call, get the free consultation. Now, they are super low pressure. In fact, I told them they should pressure more because I've called myself. It's kind of hard to get them to sell you something. But like you said, your people focus, not profit focus. I could have 4 or 5 times the sponsorship if I rip people off. It's real simple, folks. They sell gold and silver at wholesale. They buy it back with no charge. Nobody that's big does that. This is the place. They're #1 rated, highest ratings, because they're the best. That's what I bring you. You can bet your bottom dollar on it and just prove it to yourself by the facts. If you listen to me, a lot of you did, 26 months ago, how much is silver up 26 months?
Oh, my word. It was $28 an ounce, January 1st of 2025. 2 years ago, it was probably in the low 20s. I mean, literally, we're at 95. People have tripled over the last couple of years. Tripled, Alex. This is amazing.
Yeah, guys, put the graph, put a 3-year graph up for silver. Let's look at 3 years. Like they say in Gladiator, says, "Are you not entertained?" I say, "Are you not empowered? Have you not been steered right?" I mean, how many times we got to do this, folks? This is just like absolutely insane. Do you agree with me in closing that we haven't really seen the retail public even figure this out yet, and that rush hasn't even started?
Hasn't even started. We're starting to see people with fear of missing out start to get in. That's the retail, but no, this is still completely like 90% industrial demand for silver. Just wait until the retail public gets in, and there's going to be nothing available. This is where you start to see like the parabolic phase in growth. I mean, if you look at the chart now, it looks parabolic. No, this goes to limits and amounts that we only dreamed possible. This is what happens in bull markets when the public.
But that is the beginning of a parabolic chart.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's starting to go straight up.
Thank you, Kirk.
You bet. We'll talk soon.
Now, I told you Trump would win. I told you in 2020 they were going to steal it. People got really pissed. And I'm telling you what's going on with Greenland right now. I'm not reaching, into the sky at night and pulling down some magic, thing. This is massive research, geopolitical understanding that would take months to even explain, okay? But last night, Trump puts out this letter to NATO and to Denmark that on paper controls part of Greenland. And Greenland's a third the size of the United States. It's like 3 or 4 Texases, 3.5 Texases, a couple of Alaskas. It's got tens of trillions of oil and gas around it. But more importantly, it's right up by the North Pole to be able to put missiles on, because it would take 3 times longer to hit from the U.S., China, and others with nukes than he would there. If we don't get it, they're going to move in. And we already have a deal since the 50s. We protected it during World War II and kicked the Nazis off of it. So we have, just like with Guantanamo Bay, you ask, how do we have this big base in Cuba? Well, since the Spanish-American War in 1898, we have a treaty, and then that passed on to the government of Cuba when they became independent. And then once Fidel got in, the contract says both sides have to agree to get out. So we have the same contract for naval bases and Air Force bases, then Army Air Corps in Greenland. Denmark claimed, oh, you're free, like these royals always do. The British do it too. Oh, Australia, you're free. Oh, Canada, you're free. Though our Inspector General, though our Governor General can overturn your parliament when they want. So that's now being forced. Now Denmark's like, well, we have clauses where we can actually run you. And Trump's like, we're funding 80% of NATO. We've done all this. We've already been protecting Europe. This is horse crap. We are going to take control of this because China has been moving in with their businesses and their government. And they put leftists in charge of the 45,000 population, the 2 towns they've got. And so we know those spies are there. We know that's happening. We know they got Russian and Chinese ships and submarines all around it. And it's a strategic situation. So this isn't America going to grab Iraq to give the oil to China or something. No, this is the Panama Canal. It's Venezuela. It's Greenland, folks. And everything that goes around controlling the Arctic Circle. So that's the political reason. But Trump isn't obsessed with the stupid Nobel Prize. He's using that to beat the EU and NATO over the head that have refused to do a peace deal with Russia the last year and have said they're going to keep fighting no matter what. And then Trump needs a way to get in NATO's face and to point out to the American people that we're in a confrontation with NATO as a pretext to pull out. Not, again, you don't want a pretext, we're getting out of NATO because you're holding us hostage with war in Russia. We're getting out of NATO because they are the new Soviet Union, the EU. No, it's, oh, you don't want us to have that. And now NATO sent paltry troops, France and Germany and England, a few hundred troops there. It's a joke. This is about Trump changing the subject away from, if he pulls support to the war with Russia, which he's already basically done, they go, oh, you're a Russian agent. But Trump does this, gets NATO to come out and attack him, put troops in, say now America's our enemy. Now, Trump can completely change the subject over to, why are we supporting NATO? And NATO is saying, if you go in to Greenland, you have violated the article of NATO invading a NATO state, even though Greenland is not part of NATO. They're claiming via Denmark it is. So Trump, I can't believe they took the bait on this. And I knew this weeks ago. I didn't want to say it, but I think they figured it out now, so I'll say it. This is how amateur they are. They haven't even figured out that Trump is setting them up to kick us out of NATO. Again, we pay for almost all of it. Europe has nuclear weapons. The Russians aren't going to invade Europe. It's been Europe pushing up to Russia's lines. You can see the maps since 91, NATO expansion encircling them. It's insane. And all the geopolitical analysts agree we should have a Russia-U.S. alliance. We want to split them off from China. This is empowered BRICS, what's going on. It is terrible. And so by Trump putting out this thing on the surface that his supporters say is trolling, and it is at one level, the left says is totally insane, that he is bonker town, saying, you didn't give me my peace prize when I stopped any conflicts, so you must want war. And so because this is the best thing economically for America and our security, then I may go ahead and send troops in just to grab it. But what it's really about is the fact that Europe wants war with Russia. NATO and the EU, one body, want this. They want to drag us into it. So Trump is using this as a microcosm of the whole thing, saying, I wanted peace, but you don't want peace. And so you refuse to end the war with Russia and make this deal. So I'll just go to pure hemispheric power and grab Venezuela and grab the Panama Canal and grab Greenland, just illustrating how powerless and pathetic you are. And then that sets the new tripolar world with the U.S. as the main dominant force, but China and Russia as sub-forces, and fully demotes the EU to where it already is, demographically, economically, a joke. So that's why Trump did this, and it's very sarcastic. Oh, well, you didn't want peace, come on the continent, so now you get this. And what he's saying is, now I'm going to rub your face in it. I'm going to piss on you, and I'm going to show you who the boss is. And it is a masterstroke. It is 3D chess in this case. His tariff deals, all of it have been masterful, because they weren't just, people go, oh God, he puts big tariffs on and then cuts them down by 80% or 70%. He gets economic and cultural and military and political acquiescence out of it. He gets the world to align with us. And out of all the countries hit with tariffs, upwards of 90% joined us. He just went in this power vacuum globally with China, Russia, the EU, what's left of the British Empire, I love it, the EU. He just went in and created a crisis because we were already being one-sided screwed with one-sided trade deals. So they started it. He ended our acquiescence, our surrender to that. And then he flipped it all around and got 20 trillion now pledged, 9 trillion already invested. You go up the plain all over the U.S., particularly Texas and the South, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, Alabama. I mean, it's just giant factories everywhere. You go up in the plane from Austin, it's just like, holy mackerel. I mean, you're coming in at 20,000 feet, you're looking down, it's just factories everywhere. And you fly into the South in places, it's the same deal. But he's hitting factories built in Illinois and factories built in, everywhere else and out west. So it's real, folks. The question is, do you want instant gratification? Because that doesn't exist in this world. Or do you recognize what's happening? So people look at this letter and they go, this is insane. No, he's saying you didn't want peace. You rejected my deal with Russia. So now I will just start grabbing stuff and pushing you around, because he's letting them know what the U.S. leaving NATO looks like, and they've totally taken the bait and said, fine, we're going to kick you out. And Russia has said, great, we'll control our sector, you control yours. They're all mad at Putin. The media's like, God, Putin's letting Trump take Venezuela. He doesn't have a choice. And we don't have a choice attacking Russia. They'll nuke us. It's like, it's realism, folks. But yeah, Trump trolls him. They all call him insane. The Atlantic Monthly, the CIA publications are just like, oh my God, this guy's the worst thing ever. No. You guys sold out our power. You guys set us up. China double-crossed the globalists. You guys are the losers. Trump's coming into the vacuum and not just winning, but dominating. Yeah, China can have its little sphere. Russia can have its. But the U.S. is already dominating the new global order. That's why Carney went over to China last week and said, no. I was going to be with the U.S., but we're now with China and the EU against America in the New World Order. They're talking about their New World Order was an intensification of their old world order. This is the end of their New World Order and a whole new global order. Trump to Norway, no Nobel, no Greenland, the letter that has shocked Europe. When you read what Trump really says, he explains it all, but there's the spin, the Telegraph. That's the British Empire trying to get stuff out of Russia. Trump has just handed Putin the prize he's always wanted. Oh, the end of the world space order? The fact that Russia can control its sector? That's already where it is. You already failed Europe. You already had your war with Russia. You already blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. You're already collapsing. You lose. You're not going to suck us in to prop up your failure against Russia. No, in this vacuum, the U.S. leaps ahead of everyone, including China. And then Russia quite frankly, is like a super hot supermodel with her legs up behind her ears saying, you get all the rare earth minerals. We want to deal with you. That makes perfect sense. Let's have free market. Let's go to space. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Like Elvis Presley, get your coat and let's start walking. And I've been on national Russian TV, and I've told them years ago, I said, the Trump policy is you're the sexiest girl on the block, the biggest country in the world, the most resources, rare earth minerals, the most oil, the most gas, everything. We want to work with you. And the Russians are like, that sounds good. So this is renaissance, not war. But Trump's also going to have the biggest military, so nobody can play games. Peace and strength. Trump pens deranged letter to Europe saying he will not think purely of peace. It's not deranged. They don't want peace. Trump's insane new threat leaves no doubt. It's time for the 25th Amendment. Oh, saying he's insane, removing. Trump links his push for Greenland to not winning Nobel Prize. He's using this in a metaphor that they want to continue in Europe war with Russia. Let's read his letter. Dear Jonas, considering your country, this is Denmark, decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize, the Nobel guy, the dynamite inventor, for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace, although it will always be predominant. That's the main thing. So he says it's still his main goal, but can now think about what is good and proper for the United States of America. So he's saying, I was going against American interests to get a peace for you guys, but you won't do it. Denmark cannot protect their land from Russia or China. And why do they have a right of ownership anyways? There are no written documents. It's only that a boat landed there hundreds of years ago, but we had boats landing there also. And we have a deal, Trump, after World War II. I have done more for NATO than any other person since the founding, and now NATO should do something for the United States. The world is not secure unless we have complete and total control of Greenland. Thank you, President DJT. And he's saying, you guys don't want peace? That's fine. I'm going to give you peace. I'm going to muscle in and show everybody what a joke you are. And he's going to move a giant military base. We already have it, but he's going to turn it into an armed camp to take over the Arctic. And, and to the Russians, he's like, okay, we won't build your borders anymore. You have your area, but we're going to move in right here. And Russia's like, go ahead. Putin's like, yeah, take it. Because Russia wants to industrialize and move forward. They've already industrialized, but I mean hyper-industrialized. China is the big issue. This is about cutting China off. So there's your bottom line on that. It's very sophisticated. Nick Shirley is going to be joining us with major updates on massive new fraud he found in Minnesota and other areas. He's also been out to Greenland and got some incredible interviews. Folks there overwhelmingly want the U.S. to come in. What do you think Manifest Destiny is? How do you think the U.S. expanded from the East Coast to the West Coast? How do you think we got Hawaii and Alaska? That wasn't globalists. That isn't neocons. Trump is back to what made America great. And we have to innovate. We have to cut taxes. We have to get more money in. We've got to get more resources. And when Trump's being honest about it, if he doesn't do this, we're screwed. We lose dollar reserve currency, the U.S. implodes, and we go into a hell. Trump's making all the right moves, and the deals he makes with countries, he empowers them when they give him more money. So you back Trump or you're suicidal. It's that simple. All right. Nick Shirley, straight ahead. Then your phone calls. I'm Alex Jones. Stay with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nitric Boost, the all-time fan favorite, is now back in stock at InfoWarsStore.com.
You've looked at our formula. You like it?
I did, and I do. Yes. Well, nitric oxide is a key. It's made by our own bodies again. It's made by L-citrulline and L-arginine, the amino acids.
And now a major shipment has finally come back in for those of you that want to be able to stock up on it at InfoWarsStore.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Judy Mikovits, without me even knowing she'd gotten it and used it, came on years ago and said,
this was the best spike protein detoxer she'd found.
Just like you want your own body to make vitamin D from the sunlight, you can't force it back in. In people who can't make it, it can actually hurt them. It's called peroxynitrites. So you want to boost your own body's ability. The nitric oxide relaxes the endothelium, the vasculature. It relaxes the vein. So I use the two. Your InfoWars, I keep that on my shelf, and I feed myself the Cardio Miracle, which is just for straight food. It's a different formulation than that one, and the two together are a 1-2 punch. So you get in your food the ability to make what you need and no more.
Because of the organic-based compounds that are in it that cause vasodilation in the blood vessels, in the arteries, in the veins, in the capillaries. And it just does so many other great things.
So constricted blood vessels too, because athletes are running, they're constricted, they're working so that the blood flows, and it doesn't flow, which is why your nitric oxide product, that new products, I hope you'll show it, because that's a very important thing to have for acute events. Dissolve under the tongue, give you an instant relaxing of your endothelium, your vasculature.
Now listen, it is already a nationwide best-selling bodybuilding product for over 20 years. Bodybuilders take it as it helps grow muscles and better workouts and things. I was just researching and wanting to put something out that was good for the heart, and talked to a lot of scientists and researchers I knew, and they said, well, these are the type of ingredients we were thinking about putting out a product. When I talked to formulators, they said, well, we actually already have a product that has that, so we private labeled it as Nitric Boost. And just for men in the morning when you wake up, that's the big thing people feel and see right away. So imagine what else it's doing for your body. So for those of you that love Nitric Boost, it's back in stock right now at InfoWarsStore.com. And for those that haven't tried Nitric Boost, you are really missing out. Secure your Nitric Boost right now at InfoWarsStore.com. We're battling in the courts. We're still here. A year after the Onion said they bought us, we might actually hold on and win. But regardless, the shopping cart's there, the shipments are going out, and you will get your product. But if you don't order it, support us, we'll be off the air. So it's a paradox. So please take action now at InfoWarsStore.com and experience Nitric Boost for yourself. And listen, men feel it in that one way. Women love it as well. It's good for men and women. Get your Nitric Boost now, right now, exclusively at InfoWarsStore.com. And thanks for being the reason, one way or another, we'll always be on the air. InfoWarsStore.com, Nitric Boost back in stock.
Welcome to the Great Reset. Eat the bugs. You will own nothing, and you will be happy. Take the vaccine. Trust the science. Get your booster. Every crisis is an opportunity, and the world will be reshaped in our vision. Down with the globalist. Get ultramethylene red at thealexjonesstore.com.
Well, Nick Shirley is on fire, and we're going to be going to him at 6 after when the stations join us. He's filed a bunch of huge new investigative reports. He's had a deep state operative trying to set him up and so much more. I'll get his take on Nick Sordor almost getting killed yesterday and so much more with the mighty Nick Shirley on X. This is a 51-minute must-watch report, one of his latest that dropped. Here's just the first 5 minutes or so of this segment where they just discovered massive new fraud. Here it is.
I'm asking No. You don't ask me nothing. $2.25 million.
Get out.
Fraud.
Are we the only community that does fraud?
How come they said this building was closed? Do you guys know where Advanced Mobility is? Advanced Mobility? Yeah, we're looking for it. Never heard of it?
They know we're shining the light on the fraud, and they have no defense.
Would you like to see anybody in the government here held accountable?
Most definitely, because there can definitely be an allocation of funds.
The Minnesota fraud scandal continues to get worse and worse as billions of dollars of fraud has been exposed, and as I showed the world the blatant fraud taking place at daycares and other locations across Minnesota, it became the most viewed video expose on the internet and created instant change within the government as the Fed sent thousands of federal agents to Minnesota, and the HHS froze over $185 million in all payments to childcare. And while politicians like Tim Walz call people like me white supremacists and far-right delusional conspiracy theorists for exposing the fraud, meanwhile, he actually dropped out of running for re-election. The Minnesota fraud scandal has erupted the nation as protests and riots took place, all starting because daycares like Quality Learning Center were exposed. However, the daycares is only a small portion of the fraud taking place in Minnesota. In this video, I will take you into what has continued to allow this fraud to happen and connect all of the dots for you, exposing all of the fraud from strange connections of the business owners and the politicians who have openly admitted to the fraud on live TV. And to dive deep into the fraud, I met back up with the local David, who has been investigating this widespread fraud scandal for years. So here in Minnesota, you have daycare fraud, you have adult daycare fraud, you have healthcare fraud, and you even have more fraud. What's some of the fraud that's also taking place here inside of Minnesota?
Well, what I think might be sort of the heart of the beast here is this transportation fraud. And what I mean by that is in Minnesota, we have something called non-emergency medical transportation, NEMT. My research has shown that there are about 1,020 such companies in Minnesota, and more than 90% of them are Somali-owned.
And so right here on the table, what do we have? All this information right here.
So I have a number of companies that are local here in the Twin Cities, and this is just a fraction of the companies that are out there. What I found was that the national average for a non-emergency medical transportation company is 20 vehicles per company. A lot of these companies, their address is an apartment, some are in a house, some are in a convenience store, some of them in a vacant building. There's no signage, there's nobody there.
And so why would there be such a need for all these transportation companies here inside of Minnesota?
So if you think of this transportation as the hub of the wheel, so childcare is a spoke, adult daycare is a spoke, autism is a spoke, the interpreter services, which we can get into, that's another spoke. It all ties back to transportation. Why? Because those meals someone had to deliver those meals, someone has to deliver the kid to autism, or say they did. So it all revolves around the transportation. And so when you're looking at this, you say, okay, well, let's just be conservative. Let's go on the low side. Let's say there are only 800 Somali-owned non-emergency medical transportation companies in Minnesota. Well, again, the average is 20 vehicles per company. So that's 800 times 20. And the way these NEMT companies are paid is if they bring someone to a doctor's appointment, whatever the case might be, or Costco or wherever they're going, because remember, it's non-emergency medical transportation. Well, we went to Costco because they have
All right, back in 60 seconds. Nick Shirley with massive news straight ahead. Share that live feed. Well, as I've said a lot here on air, I don't follow trends, I set them. And I also know how to smell them. And back when Nick Shirley blew the internet wide open and triggered this giant new citizen journalist phenomenon, I called it first the day it came out. I said, this is how you do it. This is incredible. This is going to spur so many other people to boots on the ground, go do this. And now it's happened. And then them sending in the escalation of the Soros operatives, trained to go get in the face of ICE, the Democrats telling Axios, telling MSNBC, we want to get women killed. They're bringing babies to these things, trying to get them hurt as human shields, like Islamic suicide bombers, basically. And now all the carnage and attacks and just Nick Sordor almost getting drugged to death yesterday, being robbed by Somalis. I mean, this is insane. Well, Nick Shirley's not just been in Minnesota and other cities around the country and filing huge viral reports. He's also been to Greenland and talked to folks there to see what they're saying and so much more. Nick Shirley on X, that's with 2 Y's at the end. Nick Shirley with 2 Y's. You can also follow him on YouTube. Absolute must watch. Nick, we got a lot of clips here and, a lot to go over. Obviously, people should go watch your full reports, the new ones you just filed. But, man, this is wild. I know they're death threatening you. I know they tried to claim it was all not true. Now they've been proven to be liars with the Leering centers. So maybe just give us a 35,000-foot view on what it's like on this roller coaster, where you see it going, and the Insurrection Act, and what they're doing, and so desperate to hide the fraud that we know goes right to the top of the Democratic Party. Great to have you.
What you're seeing right now is a lot of deflection from the people inside Minnesota trying to distract from the fraud. Right now, you're seeing people literally be attacked on the streets who are documenting the protests that are happening. Nick Sorter literally got dragged trying to get his camera back by a person. And this is all to try and hide from the fraud. I saw something interesting the other day that said Elon Musk exposed fraud. They destroyed his businesses and protested. Nick Shirley exposed fraud, and they start protesting to deflect on the fraud that's happening. And so these people who are letting this fraud happen obviously don't want it to get shown to the world. And I had no idea that exposing fraud could be so dangerous and so controversial, but you're seeing it happen right now.
The numbers I've seen is $24 billion in fraud in Minnesota alone, billions in California, billions in Washington, Ohio. I mean, yeah, people will kill you over millions of dollars, much less billions, brother.
Yeah, it's frightening to think about. I never thought about that when I was making the video. I just thought, well, we show people what's happening, and it's just opened up this huge flood of fraud that's happening across the country, and people were actually able to see it for their own eyes for the first time.
Well, if it hadn't been snowing, Nick Sorter would have had broken legs, bare minimum, because when I saw the car speed off, it looked like it was going about 40 by the end. I was like, how do you run that fast? If you watch the video, by the end, he's skiing on the ice with his feet. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah, that footage is incredible. I mean, look at what they're doing to people. They're dragging a man trying to get his camera back, and she's driving on the sidewalk. Like, who thinks they can do that?
He goes to skiing. Look, he's just literally skiing.
Yeah, you can see his footprints. He's sliding.
Unbelievable.
I mean, who in their right mind thinks they can drag somebody on a sidewalk, or who in their right mind thinks they can drive on a sidewalk?
Well, it shows the danger you're in, and him and others. He's there like 3 minutes, and they already attack him.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who's not with them, they want to kill.
I can't believe she was able to close the door with his hand in it.
Yeah, that footage is insane. Like, it's amazing Nick Sorter made it out safe.
Well, I've watched your latest reports there.